we want to talk a little bit about social media today, actually the social network, the social web, as it is. And so before we begin, I'd like to understand, who here, what does social web mean to everybody here? Anyone? What is a social network? Facebook, yeah? You guys say email is a social network? Android? Would Android data be a social network? What we do here at Pycon is a bit of a social network, right? We're all exchanging data, we're networking, we make very valuable data day in, day out that have more uses than you realize. What do you use your email for today? You send an email and is that it? You receive emails? What if I told you you could use that email to get access to a loan? To sort of determine the character of an individual. So that's kind of where we want to go with this talk today, is we're going to give you an intro into how to get access to that data and how we use it a little bit here at EFL. But to continue, I want to give you a little bit of a background about the company. First, my name is Howard. I'm the Director of Tech here at Lendo EFL. Specifically, we've merged with our competitor recently because we both have the same goal. Our goal is to include 1 billion people in the global financial ecosystem. So this year, we aim to be doing about 100 million more people. So we do this by using email data, Facebook data, we use Google, Yahoo, Windows Live, we use Android data. We even use, if we can, a psychometric exam. Does anyone here know what a psychometric exam is? We'll ask you a series of questions, 20, 30, 40, 50 questions, and it's sort of to build a profile of an individual. And using this data, we can actually determine the character of an individual. And it's all about what you can do with the data. Data is kind of like it's an unavoidable technology, it's an unavoidable concept that you can't really escape from for the next decade, right? So think nuclear technology. Nuclear technology was both a great thing and it was a terrible thing at one point in our history, right? We've done terrible things with it and we've done fantastic things with it. We power a lot of the world with it, right? And, we're still expanding on what we do with it. We would not have today X-ray machines if it wasn't for our expansion into into nuclear technology. So at Lendo EFL, we have had a pretty steady growth, but this year and the next year we actually are looking at sort of expanding the way we approach things. And when we started about 3 years ago, when we started 7 years ago, we used to lend here in the Philippines. We actually used to issue loans right here in the Philippines to people who needed student loans, to people who needed to fix their houses, people who needed medical help. We used to issue loans to them using just their email data, just their Facebook data. And so what we want to do with this course is sort of walk you through about how you're going to use that data for your own purposes. What is the question you're trying to ask? What are you trying to do with that data? Because really, today you use your Facebook maybe for communicating with your friends. You use your email for getting a job. By the way, we're hiring. So, but what if I told you that email data could be used to get you a loan, an education, a scholarship? Wouldn't you use it? It's all about how the data is used, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So around the room, you'll see we've got a few Lendo EFL people. There's some outside. I have Audrey here. Audrey sort of does. Audrey does a little bit of everything in our company. She has a defined role, but it's just a little bit of everything still. We have Priyanka over here. She's our QA manager. Jesniel is the one that's going to be giving the speech later. He is our Python guru. He's joined us recently. So we're going to, before we get him to talk, we're going to do a bit of an icebreaker to sort of ease things in. And that we can move in just a moment. Okay. Currently we operate in over 20 countries. Our primary countries are what we call MII, Mexico, India, Indonesia, but the Philippines is also one of our primary countries. We work with several banks here. You may or may not have seen us, but we have a very simplified platform. You can, most websites that you design, the point of the system is to try to keep you within the website as long as possible, right? You want people to come back. You want people to. Our goal is to get you out of our system as fast as possible because we want to make sure that you get the product you're after. We're trying to help you. Our goal overall is to be able to help people. And so if you ever use social data, you're probably going to use it a similar way, right? So what is it you're trying to achieve in the end? Using big data is not a simple problem. Otherwise, more people would be doing it. We sell the very popular machine learning over here, and machine learning can only be done with data. Right? So you have to have the data to begin with. So consider this the intro to that. So, that is not right. Some pictures of our team. We're, again, hiring. Cannot stress that enough. We are hiring Python developers, QA, DevOps. So, I think all of your swag bags actually have our paper as well. Feel free to reach out. So, before we begin, the simple icebreaker. Alright, so, excuse me, miss. Do you happen to know how much a polar bear weighs? Enough to break the ice. So with that, we'll have Audrey start. She has a series of, what is it?
I'm Jesse Zapata, software engineer at Lendo UFL. So what I do in Lendo UFL is I'm the Python developer and I handle the backend code for their data science pipeline. So I manage how to integrate together data science. So medyo focus lang talk ngayon is how to integrate everything. So daming cool stuff, di ba? AI and all. Pero paano mo ba siya gagawin sa real life or production? So kahit paano, kahit bakit ako interested din ako. So hopefully may makuha yung insight on how to do your own thing or how to integrate your models or to create your data pipelines. So sino dito yung more on backend dev? Raise your hands. Okay. So ngayon, pure data science. Yeah. So anong backend? Anong stack nyo? Django, Flask, o... Ano? Sorry? Flask. Yeah, so... Medyo tayo. So, moving on. Little background about myself. So, I'm a software engineer for almost 5 years now. So, medyo half a decade pa lang. And my first language is actually Python. And I was in high school. So I tried learning JavaScript then on the elementary schools, but I failed. Then I moved on to Python because I read the How to Think Like a Computer Scientist book, so it's very great. So hindi mo siya, yung problem pag nag-learn ko ikaw lang mag-isa nun, di mo na paano ma-apply, so di mo paano yung point. So I also love open source, so especially sa Python community ngayon, madaming open source libraries, so I encourage you to contribute din. I try my best. So, yeah. Moving on, agenda for today is what will we build? So, i-ano natin ngayon yung topics. Discuss ko later what will be web app na build natin. Then, short Flask crash course. So, who doesn't know Flask here? Who doesn't know Flask? Okay.
So, who does know Flask?
Who does know? So, everyone.
I'm trying to figure out who raises their hands.
Yeah. So, short lang. Then celery. So, who uses celery here? Pati lang. So, yeah, interesting din. So, may activity din tayo. So, later, so short lang. Yung upload mong repo. So, what will we build? So, we will create a web app for which user will submit a form or data about themselves. Then, we will use our web app to fetch Facebook application data, Facebook API. So we will match those. And if we have more time, we will also use Microsoft's Vision API. So more on backend daw. So nakikirize lang ako sa ano. So makita natin paano i-set yung pipeline nung pagkuha ng fetch ng Facebook data, then how to match them together. So setup. Sino pang walang Python dito naka-install currently? Wala pa. Okay na tayo. So, requirements natin, bring your own laptop sana. Then Python 3.6. So, sino pang mana Python 2? Anyone? Level 2, wala. So, Redis. So, naka-install ba kayo ng Redis if ever? Redis. So, update. Okay.
If you have Docker, you can just install. Does anyone here use Docker? No?
Maybe network, by network. Just put it on the
Yeah,
laptop.
Redis is pretty easy to execute.
Yeah. Hopefully, so yeah. Virtual end, so may virtual end tayo, pip end. So, curler postman for our HTTP API. So we will build a simple API for gathering our data. Then Git. So, sino walang Git dito currently? May nakita. So wala naman kasi save us steps para i-check out na natin yung mga branch. So sa mga medyo naman mag-type. So kung assume ko na may Pycon kayo, then this is the instructions earlier. So sino pang who's not done yet for okay. So Flask, who knows Flask? Could you give an example, Sir? What is Flask? Could you? Yeah.
That's just a simple
Yeah. Micro? Yeah, correct. So, Flask is a microwave framework. So, anyone knows why it's called a microwave framework? Yeah. So, yeah, correct. So, unlike Django and Ruby on Rails, if you use Ruby on Rails as his, and Laravel, for example, Flask doesn't include any ORM, any admin interface, or any authorized out of the box. So, you can also use those through plugins. So, that's all. Use cases, traditional web application. I meant traditional web applications because in the old days when React, Vue, and all of those shiny front-end libraries doesn't exist, everything renders from the server side. So I called it traditional web applications. Now everything is decoupled from front-end and back-end through API calls, GraphQL, microservices. You can also do microservices using Flask. So who does microservice here sa company? Nila. Thank you, Ryan. So HTTP API. So you can do microservices if you can communicate to your service. So a short crash course. So may iniwan ako sa Git repo ng crashcourse.md. So pag sobrang layo hindi nyo makita, pwede nyo i-copy paste. So kung mas maganda kung makakopy nyo to sa crash course sa directory, app.py lang siya. So din nyo lang yung directory. Tapos medyo hands-on kasi ito eh. Kaya kung makakopy nyo din siya or maragaan nyo, within 5 minutes or 2, 3, enough na yung 3. So I could explain it shortly.
If anyone needs any help, assistance, just
if you need any help or questions, just ask me. If you see the repo, there's a crashcourse.md, the root folder, directory of our repository. You just need to access the part 1. So how's going? So type nyo na ba doon? Correction ko na dito, templates dapat ko. Yeah. Boom!
Code review, what happened?
Sorry, PIPL.
So many times. So how's
I changed the readme, the part. It's templates, but I forgot the slides. Oh. So, yeah. Kung may iba, okay na ba? O, sino pang ano? Okay na naman din, huwag kayo mahiya kung di pa tapos sabihin nila. Tara. Ha? Yeah, it's okay. Just chill. Huh?
How's Pycon been so far? Good?
Dahil sa akin. Hindi mali akong tinay. Let us test that. I swear. QA is our QA manager. She also QA my slides.
Hello,
She's like, did you already change this?
She curated the slides. She just said the developer just didn't listen.
This is the only one. She's like, I updated the code and she said you should try running it.
Yeah, he said it's not a bug, it's a feature.
Nice design.
Pero, mali. Restart na. Look.
Does anyone else need any help?
Questions.
Everyone set? Insults?
Violent reactions.
I think we're good. Everyone's, anyone else need any more time?
Sulat lang naman. So, try nyo ba yan?
Yeah.
So, crush the So moving on, so demo na i-pass through lang yung code. So for those who don't know how to run,
If at any stage you fall behind, the repository should have up-to-date versions of different branches. So just feel free to switch branches and
so
be updated.
tapos na ba? Questions to no problem. No problem. Do you have any questions or problem? So kung kaya niyo run, so sa Windows, this is yung command. Linux and Mac, almost the same, but with the expert. Sorry, we will moving on. Please relax. Do you have any questions ba? Problems? Sino nakapag-run na? Sino nakapag-run? Raise your hand. So first, so we'll see we declared a class object which we imported from class. So this will serve as our central object. So it creates a WSGI application. So WSGI is a web server gateway interface. It's a Python standard. So you can look that up later. Then it will be the storage of our view functions. As you can see, def page, def index, and def API are view functions, and route URL rules. So like this up that route. So next, so up that route. So technically we are registering the view function to this route. You can see this is what you call a variable rule in class. So what does the variable rule does is it passes the name string to the first argument of your function or whatever. Then we use the render template, which renders an HTML page. Then we pass the name argument to the name context. So it's called a context variable in Python. Then we rendered it here. So you can see the double curly braces. So let's demo. Hello, Pycon 2018. So next one is again full screen it the video. So the next one is we had the app.route. Have you tried this API/get?
Yes.
Is it returning a 404? I think. Is that returning a 404? If you don't encounter the problem, I'll explain it. Sometimes it happened. So because the other one is very simple, then I apologize about that. This is the last one. I promise. So may not be that. So yeah, it's outdated. I'm sorry. So app.route. So we registered a new API. So it returned a new. Just return a JSON object using Python's JSONify. So what it does is just like JSON dumps, but it abstracts the response header. It also add application JSON. So it's just a basic get HTTP. So you're so next we have the API post method. if you have a postman, just like the three others above. Let's. So, we also use the methods, quarks, keyword arguments in our AppSet route. So what it means is it takes a list of HTTP methods, for example, post, get, and restricts you. So if you try to get /API/post, it will just return a 405 error, method not allowed. Moving forward, sorry, we should discuss about Celery. Do you have any questions? So, what does is, kaya gusto ko din ng Flash or Python because it's very simple. As you can see, you almost had 30% or almost 40% of what you can do in just a single file. So no need to, like what I expressed in Express before, like configure, then whatnot. So here, just need a single AppSet file. Then you have a working mock API like this. You can render HTML. You can also use post. So any questions? Wala. So yung purpose ito is we will be using it later sa ating web app. So mga basic features na. So Celery. Anybody here know Celery?
The vegetable.
Huh? Vegetable. Yeah. Except for the vegetable.
Workers. It's a task view. It allows you to process long-running jobs at the background of your.
Yeah. Thank you. What's your name?
Kian.
Kian. Thank you, Kian. So what's Celery? Like what Kian said is async task job queue for Python. So typically, you can do your process on your Flash app, right? But for example, if you have a very heavy process, if you process it on your request response lifecycle, for example, there are chances that the web browser's timeout will like trigger or will appear, mata-timeout na lang siya. So pwede mo gawin sa Celery is pwede mo i-offload yun. So I'll explain later kung paano yung function or paano yung pattern na or basic architecture yan. So Celery supports different brokers like Redis or RabbitMQ. So anybody here knows Redis? Yeah. RabbitMQ. Yeah. Thank you. So basic architecture ng Celery, isang Celery app. First, it looks like this. So this will be your Flash app. Then once yung parang ito yung siya yung producer ng yung task technically. Then pag nag-post ka ba, mag-post ka ng isang process or nag-submit ka, you can upload it to a queue. It might be Redis or RabbitMQ. Then this will be your Celery workers. So you can your Celery workers will be the one who will fetch the task, then process it, then it will be pushed to back to a results backend. Then your app can query the results once again. So mas maganda kung i-demo ko na lang. So basic use cases ng Celery. Background processing. So for example, kailangan mo mag-resize ng image or mag-run ng isang facial recognition model or mag-ETL, for example, mag-extract din, di ba pag sobrang big data ka, di mo naman makaprocess yun sa request response. You can't process it, so it will crash or it will eventually time out. Then what will happen? Mawawala na yung transaction ng request niya. So Celery can handle that. Then it also can be used for scheduled periodic work, like cron jobs, if you know cron jobs. So you can schedule, for example, every day or daily, then extract the data for a client, then process it, then store it somewhere. Am I talking fast? Yeah. So priority tasks. So sa priority task naman, diba may isang big client kayo, tapos VIP, you can prioritize the task that, for example, reports needed ng client, you can prioritize that with your workers. Next, processing the social web. So relating back to the topic. So you can process the social web kasi madaming process yun eh. So mag-script ka ng data, you will call an API, you will run your facial recognition algorithms or kung may meron ka matchmaking or some, Then, any questions ba sa use cases? So, yun nga, building block siya, yung workshop mo is for the building blocks and how you build or integrate between services or yung models sa AI. So, class integration. So, maybe, i-ano na lang to, i-copy na lang sa below. Makita nyo na lang sa crash that, if you can copy quick. Then I'll explain later kung anong purpose itong code na to. So, the purpose of this function, make celery, is we pass the flash app to the arguments. Then, as you can see, the celery, you have the celery client here, or the celery app. So, what we do is we just configure it. So, we get the import name of the app, the celery broker URL, and the celery results package. Then we just really update the celery instance. Then we override the celery task. So you shouldn't mind it yet now. So it will only matter if you gonna use a database, for example, like SQL Alchemy, because Flask runs requires you to run on app context. That's why you have an app context here. So we use context managers. Anyone familiar with context managers in Python? So no. Then moving here, you can see the Flask name as we declared earlier. Then we just config that update. Then we pass the app. We call the actual make celery app. Then once we define the celery app, this is how you create a celery task. So how to use the celery app? How would you run the task now? So what we've done is we created a new API route, like an API endpoint. As you see, we have a API/add. So you take two variables A and B and pass it to the add API. I'll demo it to you now. So what it does is it takes a variable A and B, then pass it to add.api, then just calls the add.delay AB. So then it should just add those two variables. It's only loading. As you can see, why is it only loading? Do you know? Anyone? So we tried to request API adds 1 and 2 and doesn't really respond. Just remember, this is how we execute the task. So I tried to run it right, but why it didn't work? Do you remember this? This pattern? We don't have any running workers. So that's how Redis works. So you should run workers first. Right? So how to run a worker? Just celery. How about this? So I'll just explain this. How about when we add time.sleep 5? So what does anyone who can guess or sinong pwede makapagsabi sa akin kung gagawa ng time.sleep?
Delay for 5 seconds.
Yeah, delay for 5 seconds. So, dahil nagrarun lang tayo ng isang worker, di ba? So, I'll give an example. So, ganun talaga ito pag hands-on eh. So parang na-experience yun din. So, so yung mga naka-install ng Redis, pwede nyo din i-try sakali. So i-point nyo lang sa local host nyo. So I added timer sleep, then I should restart the server and the Redis server. So parang 5 seconds yun, di ba? So for example, tayo lahat nag-call sa API endpoint na to, anong mangyayari? So magka-crash na yung server. So pwedeng isang gawin dito is dagdagan ng workers para mag-scale na mabilis. So meron tayong maling ginawa sa code. Here, result.get. So, kung saan maano nyo ba result.get? What does result.get? Ang ginagawa ng result.get ay will block the request until task is complete. So parang di natin take advantage yung tool ng Redis. So minsan medyo maging pitfall to eh, kasi expect mo, di ba, pag Python ka, itay mo mag-return ka agad. So parang medyo pitfall siya talaga sa scaling, because wala talaga, hindi mo na yung purpose ng eh. So paano pag nag-crash yung so hindi na niya, nag-time out siya, so hindi na niya makuha yung request niya. So what's a better pattern to solve? We create 2 additional endpoints. So what it does is, same application pa rin. Nakita nyo, pero pinagkaiba lang nila, kaysa nag-result.get tayo, nire-return natin ng task ID. Then, we can use yung task ID to pass sa ating new API to fetch yung actual results kay Redis later on. So, nakita nyo, sobrang bigat ng process nyo, di siya mablock, di magta-time out. Then, as you can see, just fetch it later. Then store it to your database, for example. Or kung resilient naman si Redis or naka-append, you can just do it. So, hindi ko na siya na-explain to dahil hindi na tayo naka-hands-on ngayon. So, yung that's app ng task ID. So, gagawin na ng basic result object siya. So, it takes a task ID, which is yung task ID na return ng task mo. Then, yung pass din app equals salary, yung din-return natin sa make salary app. So, parang kailangan na malaman kasi ng basic object and configuration, saan kukunin yung results. Then we return a JSON object. So, ito-demo ko na lang din siya ngayon. So, I need to copy yung code. Let's try yung add natin ulit kumukha kanina. So it returned the task ID. So you can use the task ID. So it will return this null object pending. So you can check for the status. So pag in-up natin ang worker natin ulit, it should process 40. So naka-may print statement ako. It should return success. So ano nito, saan pwede siya i-apply? So for example, sa ibang website, video processing, di ba? Nag-submit ka ng video. So di ba, may ibang nakikita nyo may naglo-load lang. So parang pagkasabit mo sa API mo ng video, magre-return siya task ID, then you can poll. So yun yung loading screen. So parang poll. Tapos, pag nakita nyo, meron ng result, di-display ko, ito na yung result mo. So yun ang isang practical application niya. So hindi lang sila nag-apply nga sa video or sa mga ano ba may ipapaprocess kamukha ng, for example, sa face recognition. sabi ko na yung picture, di ba? Then Paul. So ano na-return niya para makita nila na without moving or going to a different page. So nag-work siya talaga together with, for example, React frameworks and also mga single pages app dahil hindi mo na alam mag-load. So, So, any questions pa regarding? Yeah.
Yung sa callback function, can we like also, is it generalized? I mean, can we define a callback function that connects something to the database? Or?
Yeah, you can also do that. So you can chain tasks. So I'll show you to you later. So time is it? If we reach, yeah, you should go. It will be faster because I will be. So yung question.
He will be dictating as opposed to.
Gusto kong gumamit ng RabbitMQ.
Yeah.
Same code, broker URL lang.
Yeah. Siguro konting ano lang, minimal changes lang, but it should work kasi abstracted na yun eh. You shouldn't worry eh. Actually, nare-recommend nga ni Celery is RabbitMQ. But engineering decision yun, sa company mo yun. For example, magde-deploy pa ba ang RabbitMQ, may Redis na kami for caching. So we can just use Redis. So, depende sa decision yun. So may mga useful patterns lang na built-in si RabbitMQ na wala kay Redis. For example, alam ko yung prioritization is simulated lang by the Celery. Pero kay Redis, ay kay RabbitMQ out of the box, may prioritization siya. So, engineering decision yun. So, kung saan mas comfortable yan, walang silver bullet. Dahil lahat may cons talaga. Other questions pa? Questions? Okay na ba? So, move on sa activity. Sayang na activity. Pero, itintay mo ko yung app na ginawa ko for now, para mapunta natin mabilis. Kung ano yung dapat na ipapakita ko sa iyo today. So, sayang na talaga na ako. Then, first time ko din magpa-workshop, so hindi ko na-anticipate. So, I have to make... So, I'll just demo yung app first, so i-run na natin. So, nag-run ng... what it does is like, yung example ko kanina is, i-verify ko yung profile ko using Facebook API at saka Microsoft's Vision. So ito yung ano natin. So type ako. So nilist ko talaga yung mga validation at saka all, pero hindi siya secure. So sabi ko lang para makakuha nyo lang yung pinaka-basic concepts ng gusto kong parating. Parang ID. Sample din. Hindi ako yan. So sample lang muna natin. Wala na akong picture yata dito na. So for example, ID ko to. Medyo yung process na to wala yung color eh. Pero sasabit natin. So, oops. Sorry. Kulang ako. Because we are using Facebook's API. So, unlike before, kailangan pa mag-auth sa backend. Ngayon, JavaScript lang, JavaScript SDK lang mapag-auth ko rin. So, using browser cookies lang. So, I just update first yung Facebook ID ko lang. Then just add it. So, dapat may part din kasi ng workshop, dapat na create kayo sa sarili yung Facebook app. Tapos, wala kang Facebook app kasi you can see. Or just use it. God. Sa dulo. Gumagamit yung ano. Ito, apps rin. Mas malaking screen. Yes. Kakopy ko yung app ID. So, So, ginawa ko dito is nag-ask ako ng additional, mag-ask ako ng additional permissions. Makita nyo dito sa aking request sa baba. Na naging ako ng email, user, birthday, user about me. Don't worry. Parang, if you ask Facebook to give, if you use this, kailangan mo pang dumaan sa review, yung sensitive medyo tayo sa privacy. So medyo dadal ko siya sa extreme review. Pero dahil development app na to, development mode, kaya ko siyang gawin sa account ko. So account ko lang yung makagamit ito. So kung kailangan mo siya paggamit sa iba, you have to ask Facebook to review. So, dapat let's just say JavaScript. Verify naman. Tapos pa yung meron. Refresh ba ako? Error. Nakalimutan kong kabit yung API key ko sa I forgot to add my API key. So, it's also part of the activity. So, FBI, I did sa secret key. So, I just add it.
So who here has worked with OAuth before? So OAuth requires has multiple steps, right? When you communicate through a browser, it's insecure. Right? You can't trust the browser to be true to pass proper data. So a code goes back, and then Facebook gives you a secret that is never exposed to the browser. So he's exchanging the code using his secret to Facebook to actually get back the access token. So that's why you have to have the ID and the secrets.
Thank you, Howard. Iwan siya ng verification ID, so you can view it. So, namatch siya. So, natapos na siya sa FB result ko. So, tinukuha yung data sa Facebook. Itong OCR result ko at saka face verif result ko. On process ba siya yan? So, refresh ko lang. So, yan, return na siya. So, gumamit ako ng Levenshtein distance muna, simple algorithm. So, as you can see, nakita lang niya sa ID ko is so, in-OCR niya yung ID ko. So, parang dito niya is closest ko is just yan. So, na-match siya, perfect 0. Distance niya is 0. Pero pampanga lang yung pinaka-closest na match niya. So, you can process na yung data mo. You can do anong gusto mong process. Kung may additional algorithm or metrics ka, mag-set na ng threshold na yung acceptable distance. Then here, sa face result, yun, nag-return na rin siya. So, using my Facebook profile ID, tinry niya i-match. Tinry niya i-match yun sa ID ko, yung ID ko na sinubmit, tinry i-match sa Facebook profile ko. Then, it's identical, true, and as you can see, confidence is parang 0.6. So, medyo creepy. Diba? Imagine mo si Facebook, nag-selfie ka araw-araw. Alam mo niya, alam pa, mas kilala ka pa niya. What if China? Sinabi sa tayo ng China yung malaki mo. So yun ang dapat. So paano ko siya ginawa? So I'll proceed. So this is the full app. It's more like
This is available by the GitHub.
yeah. It's available sa GitHub, so pwede nyo i-try. So it uses yung Facebook API saka Microsoft's Vision. I-try ko din kasi si Google try ko yung Vision API niya. So, hindi siya credit card kagad. So, yun. Siya free lang, may 30 days trial. So, yung interest ko dito kasi may mixture nga siya ng data science, di ba? So, you know how to scale talaga yung mo. So sa back-end ko, parang nag-return na siya ng results, then we processed. So, first, what I've done is I defined a verify data task. So I've used 3 libraries for this one. So 3 libraries packages ako. So Facebook SDK. So siya na yung nag-handle ng pag-fetch ng cookies sa front end ay sa web browser and abstraction ng ano. Then I've used the classical alchemy for storing data sa database. Then I also use request library. So, is you familiar sa mga library na? So, anong nagamit? For my so, wait, saan tayo? Crash course sa SQL alchemy. Sad. So, yeah. Basically, dito lang paano mag-define ng model. So, ginamit ko dito is classical alchemy dahil minamanage niya yung pag-open sa pag-close ng database session. So, hindi mo na problema yun. Kailangan mo lang siya configure. And basically, kung nag-Django na kayo, medyo very familiar na. So, just declare a class object again. Then, parang kumuha ng ginawa natin kay make yung celery kanina. And then just pass the app object kay SQL alchemy. So, dapat, yun nga, let's say the Facebook app dapat. So, balik tayo sa code-wise. Code. So, yun yung background. So, what I did is, first, yung form kanina, di ba, gumawa tayo ng form? Gumawa tayo ng form na may route na verify. So, first, nirender muna natin siya using render template. So, natuto natin kanina paano mag-render na HTML. Then, I just did like this. So, medyo bootstrap lang para medyo front-end kunwari. Madali. So, form lang siya. Form lang siya. So, yeah. We have a verify, after verify, ginawa ito is may get user from cookies tayo. So, from cookie. So, ginagawa ito is yung JavaScript SDK ni Facebook kanina. So, siya nil-send. So, titrigger ko siya pag in-click ko yung verify. So, check niya kung nakalagin ba yung user mo, hindi. Mag-ano ka. Papapuntahin ka ni Facebook mismo sa isang login page. So, after nung communication ng JavaScript SDK, i-save ng browser mo sa cookie. So, sa cookies na every request pinapass niya. So, you just get the cookie and FBID and app secret. So, yun na yung deleter kanina. Tapos, ito. Familiar ba? Kung naalala niyo yung request form kanina, yung request object kanina from class. So, this is how you gather yung format siya. Then, this is how you get files. So, meron din siyang abstractions sa files. So, very easy na lang. Hindi mo na kailangan problemahin kung paano mo ipaparse or content type. Hinahandle na lahat yung class. Then, what I did sa identification is I just saved the file to app config upload folder. So, makita niyo ito, parang directory lang siya talaga. So, nandito lang siya sa slash media ko. Pero normally, gagawin mo to pag distributed ka is to upload it to S3, for example, na ma-access na lahat ng server. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin na don't save it sa local host or mismong server machine mo because it would be, di ma-access to ng mga workers mo, especially your worker spans sa different instance or different machine. So, hindi ma-access. Normally, ayun lang to, S3. Namadaling way is using S3 through Boto library. Then, ito na yung model natin. As you can see, we have a model here. So, pwede natin tingnan ng models.py. So, gawa na ako ng model. So, ito yung dineclare yung magiging database row natin. So, may first name, last name, etc. Lahat ng data na kailangan. Dito na. So, pinas ko lang lahat ng galing sa form. So, first name data. So, kinuha ko yung data. So, pinas ko lang siya sa form. Then, ilad ko siya sa DB session. Yung DB session is defined sa taas. Dito yun, in-import ko siya from models. So, as you can see sa models, nakita nyo sa models. Ito lang yung DB. Tapos, kinonfigure ko lang siya banda sa baba. DB.get up. So, same lang nung auxiliary. So, dito na. So, nag-trigger na ako ng verify. So, what I did is, sinave ko muna siya sa database, then I created a chain. So, ito yung inaas ko kanina, na paano mag-chain sa mag-chain sa Celery. So, first, kailangan muna kumuha ng data sa Facebook. So, ano ginagawa ng verify that data na to? So, sa verify that data, mag-detect siya ng access token sa verification ID. So, nakita nyo kanina, kumuha ko ng access token, di ba, from the cookie. So, yung result. So, I took the access token, then I passed yung access token sa result na object. Then, yung sinave natin yung database, kaya kung pinas yung verification ID, is because para ma-update, alam ng salary worker mo paano niya i-update yung entry na yun. So, paano niya ipopost yung nag-gather niya data from Facebook. So, basic ko na lang to. So, in-access ko lang using access token, I used Facebook Graphs API. So, nag-set lang ng verification attributes kung saan ko ilo-loop. So, anong data yung kailangan kong kunin kay Facebook, for example. So, adjustable naman to, pwedeng configurable sa DB. So, in-hardcode ko lang for simplicity sake. So, ano ko siya? Then other FB data. So parang, pag tinawag ko yung graph.get object, me, tapos itasok mo ng mga fields so kailangan ko. First name, last name, email, sa birthday. Then, na-return na sa Facebook yun. Then I queried yung verification ID. So, then mag-query ng object ay SQL algorithm. So using the verification ID, I fetched the verification. Then when I gathered all the data using the verification attribute, I just used JSON dumps. So, sinorm ko siya. Hindi siya efficient kasi hindi mo mag-query. Pero, para lang ma-store siya sa database natin. Next, then nag-upload tayo ng profile picture. So, ginamit natin siya, di ba, sa para makakuha din yung profile picture natin. Facebook. Gumamit ulit ako ng isang bagong Facebook API na me/picture. So, it's an endpoint. Then I set the large. Then I just technically saved yung photo. Then I update ko ulit yung FB picture na sa link sa file name ko. So ito yan. So FB pic. So inano ko lang siya, pinatch ko lang yung picture. And I saved it locally. Then I set the path ng so na-return niyo yung verification ID. So may questions ba?
Yeah, when you do like accelerated task, yung ginagawa niya sa function, ginawa niya object.
Na parang nararap ng celery.
Ginarap ng sila. Kasi kanina parang pagtawag mo ng isang function pang
May .s.
May .s.
Yeah. So nilarap niya yun. Pero pag kinol mo siya as normal function lang, nilarap niya na parang normal na Python function lang. So mag-block siya, di siya mas-send sa Redis, for example. Nilarap lang niya yung normally. Diba, kanina di ba add.delay? So if you call add, you will just call it normal. So in-abstract na yung celery niya.
So the .s is the mechanism that allows you to pass arguments.
For chaining, yeah, it's called celery signature. Isa din yung pero hindi siya pwede kasi mag-pass ng pwede ka mag-pass ng iba pang attribute sa .s. So parang bawa yung task na may isang attribute na call na hindi part of processing. Later on, pwede mo i-dot something using signature. So medyo complex na yun, so don't mind muna yung ganun So, kaya ako nag-return ng verification ID, as you can see sa chain. So, verify data.s result, this is token. So, ginawa nito is, i-chain niya yung dalawang function. So, di ba natapos na mag-gather ng profile photo? Ipapasok ko na siya ngayon sa verify photo. So, yung result kung na-return ko sa verify data, ipapasa niya as first argument dito sa next task ko. So, buti dito na yung verify photo, you can see yung verification ID. So, that's how you chain yung, that's how you chain yung mga tasks mo. So, syempre, di ko naman pwedeng mag-compare yung ID sa, dito na fetch, diba? So, dependent siya sa task na yun. So, as you see, gano'n is to verify yung photo using yung, Face API ni Microsoft. So, based sa URL na save natin sa sa SQL TV model, we send it to Microsoft API to do the processing. Then we saved it. Yeah, saved it again. Then just do some processing.
So the results of the
Once you save, kasi dalawang API yung ginagamit kay Microsoft. So unang sasabit ko muna sa detect API nila. Ay sa detect API nila. So yung dalawang pictures lang sa detect API. So dun dito yung bibigay siya ng parang face ID per picture, then submit it to the verify API, yung face ID niya. So siya na yung bahalang mag-verify mo.
Is everybody clear so far? Anybody have any questions?
Medyo tayo. So, yung ano naman dito, sabi ko, hindi na siya tied sa Microsoft API. You can also do your models, diba? Maintenance ng model. This is how you do it. Somehow to scale, to be able to scale.
Hindi yan, yung Microsoft Azure.
Yeah, I think may partial naman. Pero may API siya for 30 days. So Google also has, well, this API, then I just got then yung result niya, dinamp ko lang din. So next, yung OCR data, what I did is, like the same, pass the verification ID, so yung nasabit kong image sa ID ko. Then, yeah, pretty simple. Just queried, loaded and uploaded the photo to Microsoft's OCR and OCR API. Then we just process it, as you can see, OCR data. Then I used algorithm pulled out of somewhere. Yun nga di mo naman kailangan i-invent lahat. Parang may mga research na sobrang smart clips na 60s pa lang, 50s, nag-exist na algorithm. So, take advantage natin yun as much as possible. And maybe, yun nga, parang may mentality tayo na parang pag ginawa ko to, cool ako. So, parang at least na-improve natin yung research sa data without reinventing the actual view. Isa mas efficient pa. So, I just put some algorithm out of Wikipedia to compute. It's like so yung compute lang i-edit distance, like I find the closest between two words. The list of words that then that's all. Then to fetch yung data, kung paano ginawa sa ad na may results na task ID, so it's very similar. You just fetch get the verification by ID, then just append yung data. That's it. So should be like a very interactive thing, as I said. So integrating Microsoft Vision API and provide pa na links. So sadly, hindi na questions.
Yeah, just a little question about the release.
Yeah.
Do they automatically scale given the request, or you have to?
No, do what?
Do they automatically scale the worker?
No. You can do that, but you don't. Normally you just set yung number ng workers by default to the pero medyo madali na naman yun kung may triggers or webhooks na sa monitoring mo. Ba, nakita ko na may threshold kang 80%, then may 8 default ka na just sub-process to spawn a new worker. And I think di siya scale automatically. So far sa tayo, pero tayo pa rin kung tayo. More questions? More questions?
Some sort of scaling and
pero sa side kasi ni salary, di siya kasi ng workers kahit na-overload yung isa. Sa ikaw magsiset ng any more?
One of the ones that comes up a lot, and actually when I spoke to the group yesterday, was the security. Right? Because we're taking in a lot of sensitive data. We're reading your email, and if you work with a lot of data, you're going to have the same concern. How do you deal with security? And so whenever you do work with a lot of data, you kind of have to keep that at the forefront of your mind. You have to have a sort of security mindset. Data, who can access the data, who can, are the APIs secure, are the databases secure? So if you work with this data, if this is something that's interesting to you, this is what you plan on doing, make sure, above all else, that you keep that at the forefront of your mind when it comes to development. Because, we're all sort of aiming in the same direction, hopefully. But, if you pay attention to, I guess, global news, there's like Equifax recently who got hacked. And Equifax, now, I'm an American, and Equifax, I did not give them permission to access my data. All right. The difference here is that the users are giving them access to the data. Now, Equifax got hacked and leaked all the Americans' data. So, there's a bit of a. Do you guys know what Equifax is? It's a credit bureau. You guys are familiar with credit bureaus? Yeah. There's so essentially, go on to sign up for a credit card with us. They're going to go to Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian to determine if I'm a trustworthy person. And they don't use a service like Lince or PFL there. There's an institution for this. And, I don't actually have a say if they have my data, but when they get hacked, it gets public. And so there's a difference in sort of a shift in what's happening. It's the data availability that's occurring. Facebook is sort of being forced by governments around the world, as is Google, as is the rest of the companies, to sort of open up their data, because the real problem is that, do you guys really want Facebook to own all your data? Because what are they going to do with it? They're not charging a subscription fee. So how are they making their money? They run hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of servers. These servers are, well, actually millions of dollars worth of servers. These servers cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars per probably hour. So they're making money somehow. And they're making it with your money, so with your data rather. Because so as more data becomes available for general consumption, because the data is yours, your Facebook data should be yours, your Google data should be yours, not Google's, not Facebook's. That means that for everybody here, you will have more access to that data. So this is going to be a growing field in the near future. Data will not be locked down and will be opened up. Any other questions? Very quiet group. Who wants to ask me about my president?
The data uploaded to Facebook are mine, not Facebook's. So I don't think so. The data are no longer mine, basically. So the Facebook can do underneath whatever they want.
Yeah, so Facebook's big claim in the past, anyway, I think they've recently modified their privacy policy, is that the data is supposed to be yours. So if the data is yours, you should have the right to control it.
Yeah, I've got right to control my data, at least my scope of the data, but the data pool underneath is like, available for the data analyst in Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why people don't want Facebook to, why governments are trying to prevent Facebook from locking down their
So
service.
the security is more on the separation of the data pool of the particular users from other users, but not from the Facebook, business intelligence guys.
Of course, and that's their moneymaker, right? But they want, they would love to lock their API down, but they can't. They're afraid to go even further than they already have. 2 years ago, they locked it down, and they actually made some APIs no longer accessible. So those scopes that you saw, Jess, in the other request earlier, simply there's a few more scopes you can request beyond that, but you can't actually request, say, an entire wall feed anymore. Because Facebook's argument is that data doesn't have a purpose because they're on all the platforms. Therefore, why do I need another Facebook Android application? So that's they're doing that in the sort of the name of trying to prevent dilution of their platform, but truthfully they're locking the data down. Now, governments around the world are trying to say, do you really want Facebook to own that data? Do you really want them to prevent, you to actually control that data? How is it used? And you can see recently, the United Kingdom just opened up some rules for banks. Banks are allowed to share their data amongst each other now, amongst other corporations, amongst other companies. They're just using a similar OAuth type approach. So there's sort of a shift as we go to accept our new information age. That's where we're entering. We've gone through the industrial age, we've gone through the computer explosion, and now we're entering an age where every single facet of your life is recorded. Yeah. You have your cell phone with you day in, day out. The first thing you do when you wake up is you pick up your phone. Yeah. And that's data, right? Because you sent a text off, you loaded something, you did something on your phone, and that created a data point.
Yeah.
And that data point doesn't have to be anonymous. Rather, it doesn't have to be useless. It doesn't have to be the fact you just turned your phone on. You can watch your battery usage, and your battery usage dipped at a certain time, right? So does that mean nothing?
So right now, please on your login to Facebook and leave the account. And let's count some peer-to-peer communicators, like without servers in the United States.
I would love for a peer-to-peer social network. So, you guys ready to create one? Part 2? Maybe no Ritas this time though, huh?
Yeah. Okay, hopefully, you can use these concepts anyhow sa mga task or especially ngayon, database sobrang laki na. Sabi nga nila, yung bagong oil ngayon is data. So, that's the new oil today. Because marketing and sales and everything, it could be used for bad, like massive surveillance, but it could be also used sa good. For example, healthcare, saka ibang data. So, hopefully, sa future, may natutunan lang kayo. So, kudos. So, thank you ulit. So, yeah, thank you ulit, guys.